welcome! Now, I'm a big fan of the Harry Potter series, especially the books, and it's always disappointed me that most mediums didn't really capture the full detail of the actual books. When it comes to the movie, they did what the movie did. When it comes to the games, well, Lego Harry Potter stuck with the movie, and the PlayStation 1 game and PC game sort of meandered and did their own thing that roughly related to the book. But there was one Harry Potter game that I haven't actually played yet, and it was Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone for the GameBoy Color. And maybe, just maybe, this is the one game that decided to actually follow the book. So does it? Let's find out. Check out Kid Kong from us at 16-Bit Games. It's a simple arcade game with a unique controller that allows you to play in both landscape and portrait. It's available for free on Android, so check it out in the links in the description. Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone for the Game Boy Color is a top-down RPG, much like Final Fantasy, which is actually quite peculiar, because what most third-party licensed titles do is they just take a popular game genre and they slap their own skin on top of it and call it a job done. But with Harry Potter for the Game Boy Color, they actually took time and effort to make an entire RPG system out of the Harry Potter universe. Sure, it's a carbon copy of Final Fantasy, but not a lot of people were doing that, and especially for the West, that was a bit of a risky move. I feel that the risk has been well worth it, because at the end of the day, you're not left with some mediocre license title that most people are just going to throw away. What you're left with is a very memorable game with some surprisingly good mechanics. The RPG mechanics in Harry Potter are very good and very easy to understand. It's a lot simpler than what Final Fantasy has, since the only thing you can attack with is spells. Think of it like Pokemon, except you only have 3 attacks: the blue attack, the green attack, and the orange attack. A combination of one of these usually ends up working, and the enemies, the attacks either land or they do 1 damage, and you just have to keep finding the right one until it works, and then you just spam it. The only thing about this game that is confusing is 2 things. The first, cards. Yes, you can use them to do spells and whatnot, but I'm gonna be honest with you, they're pointless, and if you level yourself up enough by grinding, they become completely useless. The second thing I don't understand is how you learn new spells. You either learn them by pure magic, or you learn them by keep repeatedly using the spell over and over and over again. Which one? I don't know. All I know is I learned some spells, but then other spells never come in until much, much later. Oh, and don't think that's the only thing that's annoying, because you also have mini-games in this one. You see, the mini-games are there purely for padding, and, well, they're not fun, and it's not fun to play. But, oh, if you think the mini-games are all about padding, wait until you get to the collecting, because you're exploring the map, trying to find things for characters which make no sense and has nothing to do with the actual story. Now, the story in Harry Potter for the Game Boy Color is a lot better than any other video game Harry Potter story, mostly because it actually follows the book. Now, this is mostly because the Harry Potter video games were seen purely as marketing for the Harry Potter film. Much like Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, this game didn't really have much to do with the actual film. As a result, it could literally throw away the story and no one would care. But in the case of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone for the Game Boy Color, since it was an RPG, they had to put a little bit more time into it and needed more content. There wasn't enough content in the film to actually populate a whole RPG, so as a result, they were forced to go back to the book, which makes the story even better. But unfortunately, it still is a game first, and as a result, Harry Potter and Philosopher's Stone follows the book as close as it can until the gameplay dictates that it needs to do something else, in which case, it sort of meanders and does its own thing. The story itself is good, but truth be told, it's not the best. The graphics in Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone are pretty good. The colors are used to a great extent, and the overall aesthetics and atmosphere of the game is pretty good. My only complaint about the game is that it's pretty dark. And on the original Game Boy, it's not too bad until it turns to night, in which case it's nearly impossible to see anything except your ceiling. My advice is to play this on a Game Boy Advance SP or the Game Boy Player, since they do the game justice and make it very easy to play. The sounds and music in this game are passable. They're not the best that the Game Boy can do and not the best the series has done, but overall, they fit the atmosphere and does a very good job at conveying the game. I personally like it. Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone is by far the closest any Harry Potter game has ever gotten to the actual book, but it still meanders a lot. As a result, I can't really recommend this to those who are true fans of the Harry Potter series. It's the closest, but that's not really saying much. But if you're a fan of an RPG, this is actually a very good game. The RPG mechanics are fantastic. You level up perfectly, the scale is perfect, you have item equipment and everything. It's a great little game. And for about 10 to 15 bucks, that's right in the good price range for a nice Game Boy Color game. But I really discourage playing it on an actual Game Boy Color unless you're in direct sunlight. This game is truly best played on a Game Boy Advance SP or a Game Boy Player. You need that backlit screen or else it's nearly impossible to play. So if you do really want this game, I would recommend it. But if you're a die-hard Harry Potter fan, stick to the books. Anyways, thank you guys for watching, and take care.